Okay, so I've never really done this before. For YouTube, I've never uploaded a video onto YouTube, but that's what I intend to do. Excuse the very casual format here, my style of dress, but this is impromptu. So my name is Ari, and I hope to be making a lot of these. I happen to have a PhD in political science, international relations, modern Southeast European history, and the purpose of the videos that I'm going to be making will be to discuss critical issues of the day in the United States and all around the world, and to discuss critical matters in political theory, in sociological economic theory. So let's begin. Okay, I'm just doing this on the fly, but I'm a Marxist, I'm a socialist, I'm a Trotskyist. And what that means is that I am irreconcilably opposed to the capitalist politico-economic system that exists in the United States and in virtually every single country all around the world. And I believe that the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, and that it is critically dependent on working class people and genuinely progressive people from the middle class to unite, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your religion, regardless or lack of religion, regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless of your country of birth, the language that you speak. It is critically important that the working class, the great majority of society, the great majority of the population in capitalist society unite, put aside these matters of secondary or really tertiary importance, and unite in defense of our common class interests. And the stakes are incredibly high. Now, I'm making this video on September 12th, 2024 in the United States. I happen to be in the United States at the moment. The presidential election in the United States is less than 2 months away. In the media, in the bourgeois media, this election is being described as the most important ever. It may well be, but not for the reason that the bourgeois media is describing matters. Regardless, as a Trotskyist, as a Marxist, as a socialist, and Trotskyism, and I will get to this very shortly, Trotskyism is modern Marxism. It is genuine Marxism. It is genuine socialism. Regardless of the outcome of this election, whether Trump or Harris wins, the United States will go down a path of economic crisis, of war, and of intensified domestic repression. Now, the economic crisis, the path towards war, these are processes that started a long time ago, but they're intensifying as I make this video. And it is critically important that I make clear my considered opinion, and that I firmly believe that this opinion corresponds to reality. So George Orwell, about whom we can discuss some other time, both strengths and weaknesses but whatever strengths and weaknesses he may have had, but he certainly had some insights into the way the world worked. Which is not to say that I endorse everything he said or did in his lifetime. But George Orwell said, among the insightful things he said, George Orwell said that, I believe it was George Orwell, I may be mistaken, but other people with even more revolutionary credentials have said similar things. But to say the truth is a revolutionary act. Okay, to describe things as they are, and to describe what needs to be done, and what I said needs to be done. So, it is critically important that workers and intellectuals and people who are genuinely committed to the transformation of this planet say what is. People who have studied matters, who have dedicated their lives to changing the world, it's important that they say the truth. The truth is that regardless of the outcome of this election, whether Kamala Harris or Donald Trump becomes the president, social, economic conditions in the United States and around the world will deteriorate due to the mad drive of the United States ruling class, the capitalist financial elite, to dominate the world. And they seek to dominate the world by boosting their profits through intensified exploitation of the working class within the country and through military aggression overseas. And these processes are extremely well advanced. There are differences between Trump and Harris, but from the standpoint of the working class, they are not particularly significant. Trump is a fascist. He is an extreme right-wing figure who seeks to blame the problems that exist in American society, and they are extremely grave, on some of the weakest members of society: immigrants, Muslims, poor immigrants from Latin American countries, immigrants in general. Okay. Harris does much the same, though her focus is somewhat more on expanding, these wars, these proxy wars that U.S. imperialism is waging. U.S. imperialism is effectively in a war against Russia in Ukraine. I mean, this contradicts the lying narrative in the bourgeois media, but this is the truth. U.S. imperialism is on all fronts, if in a military sense, in a diplomatic sense, in an economic sense. It is preparing for war against China. The mass killings being conducted by the Israeli regime are only happening because the Israeli regime has the unstinting support of U.S. imperialism and of the Western European imperialist powers. This is another front in the U.S.-led drive to dominate the entire world. The goal in a broader regional sense of this horrific campaign of mass killings being conducted by the Israeli regime is to weaken Iran, another regime alongside Russia and China, and there are others, North Korea, Syria, for example, that get in the way of the U.S. ruling class, the corporate financial elite, the capitalist plutocracy's drive to dominate the entire world. Now, today, I saw what's it called again? the X or Twitter page of one Jackson Hinkle. Now, I'll be talking about various people who are maybe prominent on social media. Jackson Hinkle poses as an opponent, kind of an idiosyncratic opponent of U.S. imperialism, of the Israeli regime's genocidal campaign against the Palestinians in Gaza and now the West Bank, too. He poses as an opponent of U.S. imperialism. This is a lie. I mean, Jackson Hinkle, some years ago, was an open supporter of Donald Trump, and he still is. Okay, but he created or was one of the initiators of some bogus movement called MAGA communism. So Make America Great Again Communism, and Trump's principal slogan, communism. Well, Trump is an obvious opponent of socialism, of communism, of Marxism. So, how can there be anything coherent about a movement called MAGA communism? Well, the truth is there's not. This is just an attempt by Hinkle and like-minded figures, a sinister attempt by Hinkle and like-minded figures to derail the mass opposition that exists within the United States and internationally to the Israeli regime's campaign to obliterate Palestinian life in Gaza and the West Bank, and to the drive of U.S. imperialism to dominate the world through by taking on Russia, including in Ukraine. This is an attempt to derail this opposition to war and to atrocious social conditions and move it into a right-wing direction. And Jackson Hinkle is one of the leading figures in some movement, in some political parties called the American Communist Party. It's not to be confused with the Communist Party USA, which is in many ways similar, but certain differences exist. But these are fundamentally anti-socialist formations. I mean, the Communist Party USA is one of the oldest Stalinist parties in the world. And we'll get into Stalinism and why it is it always has been, is now, to the extent it has any influence, and always will be, an enemy of the international working class. But this American Communist Party that Jackson Hinkle is one of the leading movers in is a type of Stalinist formation, and it is extremely right-wing. So today on his page, I mean, he's been posting tons of things about, he's posting tons of images and comments, attacking the Israeli regime's genuinely genocidal campaign against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and increasingly the West Bank. And he's been posting many things, attacking the U.S.-led Ukrainian regime's war against Russia. So I mean, the Ukrainian regime is merely a puppet of the U.S. and NATO powers, the principle of the U.S. and the other Western European NATO powers. And he's been criticizing these things. And so the goal is to derail this opposition and to make it harmless to the ruling class in the United States. So remember, let's not forget, Jackson Hinkle is a Trump supporter. I mean, he has been. And he doesn't talk about Trump too much right now because, again, he wants to deceive people. But today, this Jackson Hinkle, who is a vile and ultra right-wing figure, demonstrated that he is like that. How did he do that? Well, he posted, he said some comments attacking immigrants. And he said that immigration is, it's just supposedly contrary to the interests of, the American working class. And he portrayed immigrants in the worst possible light. And, well, I mean, what he's doing is identical to what Trump is doing. He's saying that immigrants are eating pets. It's just nonsense. This is a Nazi. This is essentially a Nazi campaign. The immigrants are stand-ins for Jews, and the Nazi in Nazi propaganda. And it's just a kind of an updated version of this. So Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, the founders of scientific socialism, of Marxism, they said the workers have no country. So socialism, communism, Marxism, Trotskyism, this is an internationalist ideology. And so Jackson Hinkle is, he's trying to distort this, as Stalinists do. And this is something that Stalinists have long done. But they are attacking immigrants while posing as opponents of war. And the fight against war is absolutely central to the socialist program right now. It is absolutely essential to defend the interests of working class people around the world and to prevent a nuclear holocaust, which is where things are going if the warmongers, in particular in Washington and in Western Europe, though not only, they're the principal warmongers. But if their mad drive to rule the world is not stopped by working class people in all countries, then yes, the nuclear war is inevitable. But what Jackson Hinkle is doing is he's trying to divert what Jackson Hinkle and like-minded figures, ultra-nationalist elements, in this case pose as being opponents of war. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take working class people, ordinary people's opposition to the brutal crimes of U.S. imperialism and of its allies and of its junior partners. What they're trying to do, Jackson Hinkle and the like, are trying to do is divert this anger, which is completely justified and legitimate and proper and correct, against an irrelevant target. And it's some of the weakest members of society, immigrants. So, this is, I'm kind of rambling here, but socialism is international. It's an internationalist ideology. The working class in the United States, the working class in Haiti, and Haitian immigrants are being scapegoated by Trump and the like, for the social crisis in the United States, and Hispanic immigrants from Latin American countries and Muslims. They're being scapegoated, and that's what extremely right-wing demagogues like Jackson Hinkle are trying to do. So, is Jackson Hinkle the main enemy of the working class? No. He's just one right-wing demagogue. And he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. This is conscious, okay? There is no right-wing anti-war movement. What Jackson Hinkle is doing, and Trump is doing this to a certain extent as well. He is indicating that Harris's support for the Ukrainian regime in its war against Russia, is exceptionally dangerous. And truth be told, of course it is. But when Trump was president, he raised tariffs on China. He threatened to obliterate. He killed maybe the second most important figure in Iran. He intensely bombed both Iraq and he intensely bombed Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria. Trump is not an opponent of war. Trump is a representative of the capitalist imperialist ruling class. Of course, Jackson Hinkle never criticizes him. So it's extremely important to know, who your friends are, it's extremely important for working class people to know who their real friends are and who their enemies are. I am a supporter of the Socialist Equality Party. That's in the United States. That is that's the American section of the International Committee of the Fourth International, the ICFI. Okay, the ICFI has political parties in different countries, in Germany, in Australia, in Sri Lanka, in the United Kingdom. And there are many sections all around the world. They may or may not be formally registered as political parties. I believe in France, the International Committee of the Fourth International has a formally registered political party with the same name, the Socialist Equality Party, but in French. And the internet voice of the International Committee of the Fourth International is the World Socialist Web Site, wsws.org. I will talk a tremendous amount in future videos about the World Socialist Web Site. This is, I've been studying these matters for over 26 years now. I found the World Socialist Web Site by chance, slightly over 26 years ago when it first came out in early 1998. I just happened upon it, and it's been absolutely essential in shaping my worldview. I was already sympathetic to left-wing socialist I was already sympathetic to left-wing progressive causes, but this website has played an absolutely vital role in refining my worldview and helping me understand the world. Otherwise, I would have just probably been like a disaffected liberal Democrat looking for answers. So in any event, this is my first video. It's about 20 minutes long. So So I'm going to upload this onto YouTube. Again, my name is Ari. I do happen to have a PhD in political science, international relations, and modern Southeast European history. We'll probably get into from where, whatever. It's not terribly relevant. But I am a socialist. I'm a Marxist. I'm a Trotskyist. And the time to get involved is now. The time to fight is now. The time to build the Socialist Equality Party, the International Committee of the Fourth International, to support the World Socialist Web Site is now. There's no time to lose. Whatever the outcome of this presidential election in the United States, the ruling class of the United States is moving towards a campaign of intensified global violence and intensified attacks on working class living standards within the United States and intensified repression within the United States. And this poses the very, very real threat of fascism and war and nuclear holocaust. So make no mistake about it, the situation is that grave, it's that serious. I hope, I'm going to make more videos, and I hope you tune in, comment, all that good stuff. But go to wsws.org. And, why am I doing this? Well, I'm desperately poor. And I want to get a message across. And what I'm saying is not original with me. I am a supporter of the World Socialist Web Site. It, as I said, has played an absolutely central role in my political education, my economic education, even though I have a bachelor's degree in economics. The World Socialist Web Site has vastly expanded my understanding of economic life, economic phenomena. Okay. Have a fantastic day, and I'm going to make more of these. Bye-bye.